Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to talk about how to come up with project ideas for learning. Um, so I know a lot of times when it comes to online programming advice, people say, well, just wait until you come into some situation where you actually need some code to solve the problem. And I don't really like that advice, honestly, because I feel like it's hard to know you can solve a problem if you've never faced it before. Um, and a lot of times the answer comes from a lot of times practical problems are already solved. Um, for instance, if you run into an issue installing a package on your Linux distribution or just any OS, um, there are ways you can solve that. It just takes some research, right? Um, if you do something a lot and you do it repetitively, then you can solve that through scripts, and that's helpful. But I don't think you really learn as much through that. Um, you kind of you learn how to use the language, but especially when it comes to languages like C or maybe more academic or challenging languages, you don't really have that opportunity. Um, a lot of scripting is usually done in Bash or like Python, so you don't really get those opportunities when you're trying to learn those languages. Um, so that we need to find another way to come up with project ideas, and one way that's really helped me was um, so firstly, you should have some programming book that you're reading, or several different books that you're reading on the language you're trying to learn or you're trying to build a project for. Um, so for instance, I have this book right here for C++. It's not, it's not particularly beginner friendly, but if you go through this, you'll find project ideas or you'll find ways to apply what they're talking about. And I know this may seem fairly obvious to people who read programming books, but a lot of times we skip over those projects because we're just trying to learn the material, or we're trying to get an idea. But later on, we forget the material and we never actually applied it in those projects. So what I do is I just go through a bunch of books that I have. They don't even necessarily have to be about the language I'm learning, but I just see if I can find those project ideas, those exercises, and complete them in the language that I'm choosing. So a lot of these may seem, if you do this, I would suggest like spending 30 minutes just reading through your book, like skimming through it, and trying to come up with ways to apply your language to any sort of problem that's brought up. And if they have like an end of section, like exercises and projects section, that is like more helpful, of course. So try to find books that have that. And then all you're going to do is come up with your own projects. And you have to know that you can do them, or you have to know that they're feasible. And I think a good way of knowing is that it's in the book, right? So, for instance, a lot of times we might not know what problems we can solve, but because it's in the textbook or it's in the book you're reading, you can have more confidence that you can actually solve it. It also allows you to maybe be more creative with your projects, because I think that's kind of what stops people from being creative, is that they don't know if they can solve this or not, or being unique, I guess. But with programming projects from books, these aren't, obviously you're not you're not being very unique if it's from the book, but you can kind of make it your own, I guess. So I think that's helpful. I've kind of done that here. I kind of just use this little memo book to write all my projects from the textbook I was reading. So yeah, you can just do that. write the name of the project and then like any sort of contingencies or like things to know about, you know, what it would actually take to complete the project, and then the page number that, you know, you got the project idea from. So yeah, doing this, spending some time actually writing down what you're going to do is really important, because I can't just sit at a computer and come up with something. Like, it's very difficult for me. So yeah, that's why I had to do this, and it might help you guys, so that's kind of just something I wanted to bring up. So yeah, if you find a similar challenge when it comes to product ideas, let me know in the comments. And yeah, just that's pretty much it. Just, or if you have any other ideas for coming up with projects, let me know, because I'm constantly struggling to find project ideas. So yeah, that's pretty much it.